Hi, I'm Miriam Quitelis. I'm a Cogno Movement practitioner. Welcome to Let's Cogno That, where every video explores a fun and creative way to improve your life. Let's go have some fun. Hi guys, I'm Miriam Quitelis. Welcome to Let's Cogno That. I wanted to talk today about the biggest difference that I have noticed in myself since I started to develop spiritually has been in the level of control of my thoughts. You might have noticed this within yourself when you're navigating through, let's say, social media or TikTok. You might have noticed this with your teenagers, if you have teenagers, or with young people, is that you're watching these reels or these videos, and one minute you're crying, the next minute you're laughing, the next minute you're angry over an issue, and all of these emotions are just being dispensed so quickly and switched from one to another within minutes. And although we might look at that from the outside and think, oh, there's nothing really serious, there's something really wrong with being able to feel things, I see it as a loss of power in our ability to regulate our own feelings or having our own feelings coming from within ourselves. And why does this matter so much? The more I have done Cogno, and I've been doing Cogno now for about 2 years, and consistently throughout this summer and this fall, I've been really good about doing it daily. Sometimes I do short sessions on the weekends. If I have time, I'll do longer sessions. And one thing I've come to learn is that thoughts, in fact, do become reality. I wanted to give you an example of how thoughts do become reality. We hear that a lot in metaphysical circles and spiritual circles. And what does that really mean when someone says thoughts become reality? Here's one example. If you are in a relationship where one person is overpowering another, and a lot of us might have experienced this, where we've been in a relationship where one person's personality or one person's issues are so overpowering that our entire reality becomes merged with that person's reality. And all of a sudden, you are living in hell because you have been brought into that person's reality. I have a perfect example of that. I was in a very dysfunctional relationship in my 20s, and I remember being in the car, arguing with my partner, and it was the most beautiful sunny day. And I remember just in my body and in myself, I was feeling horrendous. But then I looked out the window and I noticed that this was a beautiful day. And it was like in this weird in-between space where I realized that this way that I was feeling was sort of like a cloak. And I was covered in this cloak, but very easily I could also be outdoors and experiencing a different reality. So that was a very important moment for me. You might yourself have experienced this with either a parent or a partner or a friend, where their orbit of anger or discontent, of sadness, of rage becomes your world because of your proximity to them. And so doing, their world becomes the lens in which you see your own world. I listen to the Jeff Mara podcast almost daily, and they are found on YouTube. I will put their link in my description section. But they had this wonderful guest on, Tim Tastic, and he talked about the reality field or the mental gravitational field. And that is an excellent phrase to define what it is we're talking about today. Gravitational field, mental gravitational field. So there's a gravity in there because it pulls us involuntarily to their reality. So it speaks to the level of powerlessness and how we're unable to repel its power. Some examples of these, besides other people, might be media, might be religion, some religions, might be our family, might be tradition, might be political parties, might be ideologies. So all of these things are examples of these reality fields, and oftentimes we might get swept up in a mental gravitational field or other people's reality fields. And we no longer check in with our own self to see if this is really who we want to be. This is how we really want to feel. Is this how angry we really want to be? I think this is a very important message right now because people are increasingly becoming more angry, more upset, more and more and more of everything. And we need to take responsibility for our own energy and check in with ourselves and make sure that this feeling that we're feeling is really emerging from within us and not externally fed to us. Now, I like to think of the body as an instrument. If in fact we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, then the physical is there for a reason. The physical is there for a reason. And within the physical, we have our senses. And so our bodies, I believe, are here to help us gauge and are here to guide us to live a full and a joyful life. Therefore, it is important to work with our mind and body because it controls our reality, and our reality fields dictates our experiences. So this video is about taking back our power and how does one reclaim our power to our reality field. And that way that once we take power to our reality field, then we're able to control our experiences more and really live from a space of having the ability to take control of our own lives and not be victim of our lives. Now, we've all met that person who seems to always have bad luck. And we all know someone like that. And it might be us, at one point, this was me. So we might say that person just always gets into altercations with other people. One day they have some kind of, ankle sprain, and, the same person always gets cut off in traffic, never finds parking spaces. Seems like there are constant blocks in front of them. Those situations, I believe, are easily alleviated with minor shifts in our own reality. We actually have control over the tangled webs that we weave. And the way that we do that is by shifting our mental gravitational field of our own lives. In this video, I'm going to give you 10 really awesome tips on how to take back control and not letting ourselves be victims of other people's gravitational realities. Let's start with number 1, the most important one, which is reconnecting with our body. I know that within the past decade, there's been a big push for being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think that is a message that doesn't really help being able to control our own reality, because in reality, our bodies are tools to help us discern, make choices that better suit our life goals. Life goals, I mean by our capital G goals. Like, what are we here for? Our main purpose. So obviously, we do need to connect with our body. We do need to connect with our discomfort and pay attention to our discomfort. And that way we are able to better discern, better able to assess what things are good for us and what things are not. So our body in this case is like a barometer. A good way to use our body is if we are feeling unsettled in something, most likely that is a sign that we do not feel comfortable, and we should listen to that, because I really think that our body is here for a reason. We are here to use our bodies as a tool to help us navigate life. Keep telling yourself that you should feel comfortable at all times. You should feel comfortable at all times. Sadly, some people need to be told that living in a state of trauma, living in a state of fear, living in a state of sadness, depression is not a place where we should comfortably rest. We should always seek safety, emotional safety, physical safety, comfort, joy, contentment. All those feelings are signs that we are listening to our inner selves. Number 2, meditation. Now, I am not a meditator. I will just put that out there right now. But there are other ways to bring your brainwaves down to an alpha state and a state where you are more able to tune to your inner voice. And there are things you can do. You can be in nature. You can go to a botanical garden. You can take a hot bath. For me, what helps is long drives on the highway where I know where I'm going and my mind just comes to a very nice space where I can actually hear my inner self. Other things might be painting, making art, coloring books. So those are just some examples of how you need to reach a state where you are in an alpha state where you can then tune in to your inner voice. So number 3, insist on alignment. So alignment is, and some people call alignment coherence, where start trying to align all aspects of your life so that it is coherent. So for me, it's my job, my relationships, my friendships, all of it is one DNA, one coherent self. And again, if you do not feel that way now, that's fine too. That just is a sign that there's work to be done. So it's not a big thing, but that insisting on alignment means that if there isn't alignment, look at aspects of your life that are out of alignment and try to bring them in. Number 4, time in nature. So that has its own space because nature is an incredible healer. There's something that happens to the body in nature. Time in nature is an amazing way to, again, bring your body down to alpha state and be able to connect with your inner voice. Number 5, ask for help. Whatever your spiritual beliefs are or whatever your religion is, that you voice out loud what kind of help you need. I just read a book recently by Joseph Murphy, and it's called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And in it, he suggests to ask for help before going to bed. So that second, right before you fade off into sleep, create a sentence or say a line that best describes your issue and your question or your prayer or your request, and just put it out there. And what it does is it makes a connection with your higher self, and the answer will come. And be aware that the answer will not come in the form of a letter or an email. It's going to come in the form of a person or in the form of an opportunity or in a form of a book that you run into, or a phrase that someone says will ring true to you more than it's ever, or you'll have an interesting synchronicity. So ask for help. Trust that help is coming, but it's so important to verbally voice out loud to whatever entity you feel like talking to, whether it's God, whether it's your higher self, your guides. Just voice out verbally what it is that you need help with. That is very important. Number 6, I want you to know that success and joy is our birthright. And if you don't believe that, then we have some work to do. Don't accept misery as a way of life. Don't accept suffering. Don't accept anything less than success and joy as your birthright. Just changing that thought just a tiny bit makes a huge difference. Because the minute you know that you are entitled to joy, the minute you know that you are entitled to success, something in your entire self changes. And then it sets into motion other things. So it's so important to, if you don't believe that you're entitled to these things, that's where you might want to start. But once you believe that, it sets in motion so much. It sets in motion synchronicities, opportunities. You meet the right people. Everything will come into alignment the minute you believe that these things are meant for you, as well as for everyone else, but they're meant for you. Number 7. Okay, this one's going to be a little tough, and it's a little tough love. So taking responsibility for everything that's not going right, things that annoy you, bad relationships, lack of energy, some health concerns. The minute you look at those and try to see what things in your life you can shift to make these things go away is very important. Because if we don't look at our annoyances, our problems, our relationships, our tough relationships in that way, then we're just victims to them. So it's so important to, first and foremost, see in what ways we might be fanning the flames of these misfortunes. Again, it's not that it's our fault that these things happen. I don't want anyone to walk away thinking that. But the instant that we switch that in our heads, where we have the power to shift our own orbit, to change our external circumstances, that is an incredibly powerful stance to take. It gives you so much power to even just have that belief that we can be the catalyst for the change, no matter how big the problem is. Number 8, limiting your social media interactions. And yes, there are some social media interactions that are perfectly helpful and wonderful. And I think the key difference here becomes the purpose. So if let's say we have a business, and of course we have to be on social media, we're sharing our business, we're sharing what we do. The minute social media becomes a venue for shifting our moods, like we're bored, we're going to go to social media, or we want to feel we're feeling numb right now, and we're going to go there, and now we're crying, and the next minute we're raging about politics, and the next minute we're angry about something else, and the next minute we're laughing and just seeing how adorable puppies are. As benign as some of these videos might be, we are placing our entire emotional well-being in the hands of this entity called social media. And now they are in control of our feelings. Now they are driving our feelings up or down, depending on what random video we watch. Just pay attention to how much of our emotions we are allowing social media to dominate. And with social media, I don't just mean TikTok and Instagram. I also mean just the news. Like, I think if you're watching the news and you are feeling a level of anger rising, it's okay to move away from that. The news wants us to feel something beyond neutral. The news wants us to have these high highs and low lows. That is how they get money. That is how they get hits. That is how you're going to continue coming back and watching, because it's kind of like a drug. Anger is kind of like a drug. So if you feel like, oh, I'm going to be missing out, you're not going to be missing out. You're not going to be missing out, because in reality, like a snow globe that's been shaken and sat there for 2 hours, not watching social media will allow everything to settle down, and for you to actually think clearly, and for you to see the world in a more realistic fashion. Number 9, gratitude. So gratitude is huge. It's so important to be grateful, not only for the things you have. So when I say being grateful, I mean feeling gratitude. It's not just saying thank you, thank you. It's not just your head, it's the heart and feeling the gratitude. Now, more importantly, especially if you're in the manifesting world and you want things to happen in your life, you also need to feel gratitude for things that you don't have. And the way that you do it is you imagine these things are in your life and you kind of play imagination game. And I know people poo-poo imagination because they think it's childish. They think it's something only kids do. But in reality, when we imagine having the things that we want, we are actually shifting our energy. We're actually creating an orbit in which these things are possible for us. So when we have gratitude for that thing that we want in our lives, but we think about it as if it's already here, then we shift our entire orbit to make the universe provide that very thing for us, because that's how the universe works. Likes attracts like. So when you, in your body, in your imagination, in your energy, in your vibration, create this gratitude for something that you want, the universe has no option but to provide exactly what it is you want. So, last but not least, 10, connect with feelings and notice their effects on your body. And I've always connected my feelings with my body, but it was only when I started doing energy work with people that I realized that not everyone makes that connection with feeling and body, and connecting the way that your body reacts to your feeling and noticing that, it will be really helpful. This is the most important thing, because if you are able to listen to your body in essence is connected to your higher self. So if you listen to your body, you listen to your intuition, you listen to your higher self, to your hunches, you might want to say that too. If you listen to your body, you will always be guided to the right place, to the right choice, to the right decision. So it's so important to start listening to your body, start doing exercises in which you connect your feelings to your body reactions. Of course, meditation is one of them. A lot of the healing modalities teach you that. And of course, cognitive movement is one of them. In cognitive movement, I have learned not only to identify where a feeling arises in my body, but I've also learned to identify when it's no longer there. And I've also learned to grow feelings that I like to be in my body, within my body, and beyond. So it's an excellent tool. And I hate to be biased. And I do feel like cognitive movement is the most amazing, powerful tool to reach their highest potential. It is a wonderful gift you can give yourself. So, on that note, as you guys know, I'm a cognitive movement practitioner, and as you also might know, I'm a full-time art teacher. That means, as you might know, I only have space for about 2 or 3 clients a week. So, if you choose to make a monumental change and explore cognitive movement in your life, my uh, web page is right here, and feel free to connect with me, and I will very much love to help you out. And why not connect with your life purpose and become the person you were always meant to be? Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this video was helpful.